My name is Ian. I work with Steven. My company is Narrow Road Productions, and the majority of the work that I do is voice work. It's exactly how Steven and I met, and we started working on one project, and then we worked on another project, and it just kind of kept growing. So Project Dust, which is what we're working on right now, provided a kind of great opportunity for us to share the process of animation, which I know nothing about, and voice work, which is kind of what I do, and kind of get to present that project for you guys to see and experience alongside us. So we're hoping for big things here as we get to do that, maybe answer some of your questions, and you get to witness the project kind of beginning to end. And that's ultimately what we're excited for. So, of course, my end of things is voice work, and so that's what I do. And a lot of voice work is auditioning. I would say on any given day, I probably do somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 auditions for different types of work, whether it be e-learning or animation or video games or all kinds of different things. So this, of course, would fall underneath the idea of animation. So I thought I would take a little bit of time today to kind of walk you through that process and what I did for Dust and how we started working on that project with Steven, of course. And this kind of gives you also a kind of a peek or preview into the world of voiceover work and kind of how that comes together. So let's kind of get into this. I wanted to, this is a picture that Steven and Adrian put together for Project Dust. I really liked it, so I wanted to kind of showcase it there. First thing first, when you're talking about voice work, when you get an audition, you'll have very generic auditions, and then you can have very specific auditions. And that kind of boils down to, were you invited to the job, or is it just a general casting call? So, of course, Steven sent me this information, script, everything about the characters. So when it's more of a specified audition, you're going to get more information. When it's more of a generic casting call, you're not going to have near as much information as I'm about to show you. So let's just kind of look at that and keep that in mind, because more generic auditioning work kind of focuses more on just giving you very generic information, just kind of seeing what you do with it. So for today's purposes, we can get into auditioning later, but for today's purposes, we're looking specifically at the script for Dust, and we're looking at the characters that we're auditioning for. And for this video, we'll be looking at two different characters that are in this animation project that I specifically am going to audition for and send back to Steven. Okay, so let's take a look at the script together. So I want to show you this. First of all, let me get my ugly mug off the screen here, and then we can kind of go into this. Okay, so let's look specifically at the script itself. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so you can see it. Okay, so we see here specifically, we're going to start with Noble. I'll show you a picture of him here in just a few moments, but when you have the script, you can get, of course, a lot more detailed information about the character himself, and that kind of gives you an idea of what to shoot for when you're auditioning for the voice work. So you can see right here that our character that we're talking about right now is Drake Noble. So Noble here, we see, is also in his mid-30s. That kind of keys you in for some of the tone, intonation of your voice. You want him to sound younger. You don't want to go for some kind of gravelly, deep sound. And also, of course, a picture is going to help you with that. And we'll take a look at Noble himself as the character here in just a minute. But this is the line that we're going to start with here that we'll audition for. So we're going to use this line here for our audition for Noble. So I want to have that line in mind, and we're going to say, you know the drill, hands up, drop the bag. I want to get home before kickoff. And also in the script, you see this line, which is a big indicator of how this line should be delivered. It says, Noble steps a little closer, nonchalantly, as if this is an everyday occurrence. So he's going to have a very indifferent tone to this. He doesn't feel threatened. This isn't kind of a threatening situation. Noble's just kind of probably a little too off guard for the situation he's in. So it's going to be a very casual, laid back type of line delivery, bordering on, I don't even care about you guys, let's just get this over with. So that's the kind of thing that you're thinking about when you think about this specific character. Now let's take a look at Noble. Here's a picture of Noble. So when you see him, you kind of get this idea of how he should sound, right? We're thinking he's in his mid-30s. So we're going to see that he's got a more youthful voice. So it's going to be close to my voice, but not quite my voice. So we're going to try to maybe up the tone a little bit, up the pitch just a bit to make him sound a little bit younger. And then we can try some variations with it, kind of see how we want it to land and what that'll sound like, okay? So with that picture in our heads and this idea of what this looks like, here we can go ahead and get our, let me get my recording software up here so that we can do a couple of takes of this line. Now, the software I use specifically here is called Cool Edit 2.0. It's an older software. It's very similar to Adobe, which you can get. In fact, this company that used to make this software was called Centrillium, was actually bought out by Adobe. So this is kind of an older software that does a lot of the same things. So I've used it for a long time, and I already kind of know how to use it, and so that's kind of why I stuck with this. But there's a lot of effects, there's a lot of different things you can do with it, and so that's just personally what I use. Okay, so we've got our software pulled up here. We're going to record a couple of lines, and then we can get into kind of the working of the line specifically. So I'm going to put, let's see, I'm going to put my video back up here. Stephen had told me that, you know, getting to see me do the audition was something that he was kind of curious about. So I'm going to move over here. There we go. So when we do this, I want you to be able to see kind of facial expressions, kind of how we deliver the line and that kind of thing. If my mic doesn't get in the way, move that over just a little bit. Okay, so we've got our mic set up, ready to go here. So again, we're going over the line. You know the drill. Hands up, drop the bag. I want to get home before kickoff. So we're going to do probably 3 or 4 takes on this and see how this kind of comes out and how we want to kind of play with the tone, kind of the sentence structure, that type of thing. So let's do a couple and see how it comes out. You know the drill. Hands up, drop the bag. I want to get home before kickoff. All right, guys, you know the drill. Hands up, drop the bag. I want to get home before kickoff. Okay, so the first take, I kind of did the last part, I want to get home before kickoff, almost under his breath like he's talking to himself. Another thing in my mind was that if he's standing next to Fox, who is his partner, he's kind of leaning back towards him maybe, kind of delivering that line to Fox as well, like, let's go, let's wrap this up, I want to get home. Which Fox does answer him right after that about what team that he roots for. So it could be, you know, the thought is that he could be talking to Fox with that line instead of the suspects that they're facing. So let's try it a different way. This time we won't kind of say it under our breath like he's saying it to Fox. Let's say that he's saying it to the suspects, and then Fox responds to what he's saying to the suspects. Okay? You know the drill. Hands up, drop the bag. Come on, guys, I want to get home before kickoff. So that's another way we could deliver it. Now, the other thing we can do is we could play with the tone of our voice. We can make it even a little bit higher. Maybe give him a little rasp or something like that. So we could try that. You know the drill. Hands up and drop the bag, guys. I want to get home before kickoff. So there we added just a little bit of rasp in the voice, which is an option for the line as well. There's a lot of different things you can do. Although if I'm looking at Noble, and this is all going to be, again, and this is the great thing about voiceover, is it doesn't have to be locked into anything. You could put some rasp on his voice. Maybe he smokes. We don't know. But it's completely a creative process, which is great. And sometimes I think, you know, the more options you give a casting director, the better off you are, because if it's a general casting call, you're not getting a lot of details. And so the more that you do to give them details and options when it comes to the idea of the character itself, you know, the way that you deliver the line may even be something that maybe the director hadn't thought of. What if we should do a slight Brooklyn accent, right? What if this is in specifically New York City, right? And so he's got that slight kind of Brooklyn accent thing going. You know the drill. Hands up, drop the bag. I want to get home before kickoff. So there, we could put a little Brooklyn accent on it. Maybe he's not from the United States. Maybe he's from overseas and he came across and maybe he's got a slight British accent and, he's coming to America for the first time doing police work. Maybe that's the story, but we don't know if we don't have the script. So maybe we could throw in a British accent just to kind of give more variety. All right, you know the drill. Hands up, drop the bag. I want to get home before kickoff. So there, you could do a British accent as well. So there's some options there for auditioning for a character. Again, this is for Noble. All I'm eating is a freaking hot dog. Okay, so now that we've worked on Noble, there's one more character we want to work at that Stephen sent to me that is also part of Project Dust, and he's one of the suspects that's in the alley that Fox and Noble approach there, and Noble delivers that line to about dropping the bag and wanting to get home before kickoff. This is the character that Stephen was talking to me about, and his name's GJ. You can see a picture of him here on the page, so you can take a look at him here. Now, one of the things that we talked about with GJ, what Stephen brought out, was that this guy is kind of a joke. No one really takes him seriously. He likes to, he is on the streets. He thinks he's kind of a lot more than he is, kind of thing. So if you notice here in his mouth, he's got a big appliance here. He likes to talk with his hands. That's why Stephen kind of drew it like this, because he likes to make big hand gestures while he's talking. You can see the necklace that he wears here. And so GJ is kind of the comic relief here. He's going to think that he's very urban. And again, when it comes to casting calls, like getting to have this conversation with the person who's actively creating the character artistically is huge and is kind of rare when you're looking at auditioning for things. Normally, you may get a fraction of a script and a loose description of the character, and so you just kind of do your best, be creative, and just kind of put it out there. Like with Noble, we did several, right? We did some accents, we did non-accents, we did some raspiness, no raspiness, and that's kind of what you got to do when you go into an auditioning process. But with this, I can ask very specific questions. Stephen can give me very specific information, and from that, we can kind of construct this character. So getting to see it and audition for it is kind of a rarity. When you get an opportunity to do it, it's really fun to be a part of that process. So anyways, we're saying here with GJ, we see, again, the big appliance in his mouth right there. You can see it here too. And so I said, well, since he's a joke, like, let's really lean into that. Let's say, for instance, that the appliance is too big or it doesn't quite fit right. And so he keeps having to adjust it in his mouth, or it keeps slipping, which would give him kind of a lisp when he talks, just trying to compensate for that, grill in his mouth. The other thing I thought might be comical that we could try with some of the line delivery is that he may try to make a lot of his lines rhyme. Okay, so let's go to the script here and we'll take a look at this first line, and we'll try a few here just to kind of see what we can do with the character itself. So this is GJ. This is his first line in the script. He's standing in the alleyway, obviously up to no good, and he's kind of threatening because he and his partner Rotund has gone through a lot of work to get whatever this is that they're giving to this person. And so one of the things we said is, well, what if we tried to make his lines rhyme? And so, that's what we worked on. And so we did some variations of the line as with some rhyming lines in it, okay? So when you do that, you can look at maybe delivering the line in some different ways. We also said that the pitch on his voice is high. So that's just another reason that he wouldn't be threatening. That he kind of has a really high pitchy voice kind of thing. So let's do some deliveries of the line here, and we'll try to put some rhyming lines into it. I wrote a couple of suggestions out here down, so I'll refer to this when I do the lines. So let's just try this. We keep in mind that he's kind of goofy. He's the comic relief here, and so let's just try it too. Yo, fool! It's pay up or pay the funeral director. You dig? You see the grills? I need to see the bills. You see my bling? Time for you to go cha-ching.
Yeah, 'cause that's what you'll eat when dust hits the street. Give me some, bro.
So there you go. We're going to try to deliver some lines like that and see if Steven likes those. So again, this is voice work and what it's all about. I love this process. I love doing this work. And so we're excited to kind of see these lines come together. We're excited to see this project come together. And as if you have questions or want to be involved by messaging us, asking us questions about animation or voice work, we'd love to answer you in that way. We've got a lot of work to do to get this off and running, and so we're excited to do it, and we're excited that you're here to join us in the process. So make sure you click the like button, subscribe, follow us, and click that bell so you know exactly when new videos come up, so you can continue to follow us as we walk through Project Dust together. My name is Ian. You can check out my website at ianvoiceit.com. I've got some of my other projects that I've done there as well, so feel free to go check that out, and we will see you next time on Project Dust.